What's up everyone on YouTube? MainManSWE here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always, and really cool news for fighting game fans, especially people who have a couple of gray hairs like me. Virtua Fighter has shown signs of life. This is a series we all thought was dead and buried, not 6 feet down, but more like 45 feet down. The last game was Virtua Fighter 5 Showdown, I believe, and it just never had sales approaching anywhere close to the competition. The game was basically, you have no idea how much the game inspired Harada with Tekken. They were so innovative, one of the, if not the best 3D fighter out there along with Tekken. I love Virtua Fighter. I did not see this coming. We don't know what this is. Let's just watch it. Let's just watch this and then I'll talk a little bit more. As you saw, Virtua Fighter 4 tournament. You can tell by the quality, this was a long time ago. Well, Virtua Fighter tournaments was a long time ago. Or do they still do them in Japan? It's still big in Japan. Big in Japan. Big in Japan. Big in Japan. Virtua Fighter X esports. So, the production value of a trailer is as expected. Virtua Fighter never had good production values, which is why it lost to Tekken, its main competitor. And this trailer, you know, it's what, 90% old footage of tournaments, and then you get like 1 second of actual assets, you know, new content created. And it's what, Akira turning around. So that's all they could muster, I guess. And it's... right. But, you know what? It's not a whole lot, but I'm still super hyped. And we don't know what this means. Virtua Fighter X esports teaser trailer. So what could this mean? It could mean that they are going to have an old Virtua Fighter game played at an esports setting. Maybe Sega are going to promote a Virtua Fighter tournament, Virtua Fighter 4, Virtua Fighter 5. That's a possibility. It could also mean, and this is where certain fanboys start to maybe mentally masturbate a bit too much and go, oh my god, they're rebooting Virtua Fighter? Whoa! You know, and it's gonna be a new Virtua Fighter game, you know, completely new, yada yada. And it's like, I think the odds of that happening are not too good. And some people, of course, are saying, finally, it's the sequel to Virtua Fighter 5. It's gonna be Virtua Fighter 6. And again, I think, honestly, if it was something along those lines, would they really call this trailer Virtua Fighter X esports teaser trailer? It seems like they have recognized that FGC esports is working out. Tekken has been doing quite well. Let's give Virtua Fighter another shot. And maybe they will release a remastered version, yet again, of Virtua Fighter 5? What's more reasonable here? Or are they actually going to see it as Ono could breathe new life into Street Fighter 4? Into Street Fighter with Street Fighter 4. Tekken 7 was the Tekken Renaissance. Are they going to try and do that to Virtua Fighter? Release it with Unreal Engine, finally make it look presentable with good production values using Unreal Engine, as so many developers do these days. Give it a fresh look, you know, redesign costumes, whatever, and try and compete with Tekken? Is that what they are going to try to do? to me, it's a little bit far-fetched considering how the series has performed previously. But don't get me wrong, I would love that. I'd love to play a reboot or a super ambitious Virtua Fighter 6. I'm a huge fan of this game. Many of you haven't played it, but the gameplay is so obviously what inspired Tekken. Every single cool mechanic you see in Tekken, like sidestepping, teching throws, tech rolling on the ground, bounds, juggles, Virtua Fighter did it all first. And it's like, you know how I love in Tekken 4 the fact that you have interactive stages with obstacles and walls and uneven ground? Virtua Fighter did that before. Virtua Fighter did that in Virtua Fighter 3, I think. And then Bandai Namco copied it for Tekken 4. But what has historically always been the case with these two titles is that the Sega team implement it, and then it's like the Tekken team steal the idea and then perfect it. Has usually been the case. But what really cost Sega the race, and what led to Virtua Fighter's death, is you can just play Virtua Fighter 5 and you'll see how outdated like the sound effects are. Poo, pa, poo! And some animations, how the characters jump. The graphics are very stale. There are no cool lighting effects or dynamic particles. Everything is so outdated, and many animations super stiff. But if you can look past the presentation and look at the core gameplay, my god, is it... You could say it's the best fighter ever. And I think, was it Ryan Hart who said that it's like the fairest fighting game out there? If you know what you're doing, there's like no cheese in the game. It's just so... yeah, fair, honest. Yeah, I am super excited by this. You know, people keep telling me, oh, why don't you play other fighting games? And it's like, no other fighting game excites me. Soul Calibur seems to have turned into a total cheese fest from what I can see, at least when I tried it. Dragon Ball Z Fighters does certainly not give me a boner, and neither does Street Fighter 5, Mortal Kombat 11. Insert all of those games. This, however, hypes me up quite a bit, and if it's probably just going to be maybe a remastered version of an old game, but if it actually is a proper sequel or a reboot, you can get ready to see me play this a shitload. I'll buy it and I'll give it time and I'll try and make it work. But I certainly hope that they've learned their lesson if it's a reboot or sequel, and that they use Unreal Engine and the presentation is completely reworked. Because that is what we're going to need to compete with games these days. But especially the Western games have really... It's like MK11. They understand how vital the presentation is. But that's where the gameplay has such shortcomings. But people are very superficial. This is the most beautiful game ever, probably, in terms of fighting game gameplay. But no one can look past the witch-like appearance, you know, the superficial stuff. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say on Virtua Fighter. I'm really, really hoping for this one. Hoping for the best, and I hope we get some more news soon. But I'm so excited. So excited.